Welcome to the Tabletop Gaming Guild Show. The Tabletop Gaming Guild Show is all about the memories and experience of playing tabletop games that friends and family can create. On this episode, we're going to be talking about Ameritrash versus Euro games. Which one's better? I mean, I know, but do you? We'll find out. But first, before we dive into that awesome topic, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. I'm going to go ahead and throw Evan under the bus because, yeah, why not? All right, Evan, what have you been playing?
So this last week, I was on vacation. I was visiting my sister down in Virginia Beach, and I didn't play hardly anything. As I was saying right before we started recording, the only thing that I have played was on my phone a game of Sagrada. I downloaded the app because the app implementation is really, really good. See, there it is. Literally the only thing I played. This weekend, I'll have a couple more things played. So the barren wasteland that is my board game playing section will turn right around. I don't really want to talk about Sagrada because I've talked about it multiple times before because we play it quite frequently at my house because it is thoroughly enjoyed. So enough about me. Let's talk about somebody slightly less interesting. Talk about James.
Well, right before that, I just wanted to know for the Sagrada app, when you're
Yeah.
playing the AI opponents, are the AI opponents good?
Yes. So they're not bad. They're not great either. With the amount of luck too that what you're
Yeah.
randomly pulling and drawing, it's
Yeah.
hard to really tell sometimes if are they playing smartly or is it just they're getting really bad luck.
Yeah.
I would put the average.
Okay. Fair enough. So I played some pretty cool games. The first one is going to be Freelancers, which I'm hopefully recording a review of tomorrow. In Freelancers, it's going to be similar to if you played Dead of Winter, where you had the deck of cards that with the crossroad cards that have events that would may or may not occur on every player's turn. Then they came out with Forgotten Waters. It was right over there. Forgotten Waters. In Forgotten Waters, they offloaded the crossroad cards onto an app, and that was narrated, and it was really, really cool. Well, Freelancers is the third iteration of this cross. Well, no, it's actually the fourth. There's one that no one ever talks about, but there it is, the fourth iteration of it. Nathan might have it behind him. It is, yeah, it's Gen 7. It's the horrible, the one we don't talk about. You know, every company that's amazing, they have some duds. That was one of them. But Freelancers is not a dud. Freelancers is a lot of fun. It's really about the story as you go through it. It's completely narrated, which is amazing. Each player, it even offloads like the upkeep in the game to all the players. Like one player is the game master, one player manages the threat, one player um, is the bookkeeper or storyteller. I don't remember if the bookkeeper or storyteller, and they flip the pages in the binder to go to different things. So really nice, really love the art for it. It's really amazing art. Love the voice acting in it. They did really, really good job overall. Just amazing job with Freelancers. I think there's five or eight things you can go through. We haven't gone through all of them, but really, really good game. Freelancers. I can't wait to play with you guys with that game. I think you'll like it a lot. You can actually save your progress in it, so you don't have to actually complete a game. You can stop and then come back another time, and you'll pick up right where you left off because it gives you a code. That's really cool.
Yeah, looking at it, it seemed like it has shared a lot of similarities mechanically to Forgotten Waters, more so than their other games. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's more like Forgotten Waters in all those aspects. I mean, there's mechanically some different stuff, but in essence, it's the same idea. But really good narrative game. If you're looking for a storytelling game that is very immersive and just a lot of fun, it's Forgotten Waters was silly. Freelancers is silly, so you're not going to get away from silly, but it is awesome. And I highly recommend it, especially if you like Forgotten Waters. The other game that I got to play, which I was super interested in, was Chaos Cove, and that one's designed by Martin Wallace. The game is not out yet. I got the prototype for that. In Chaos Cove, you're cooperatively playing to defend the island against the pirates and the barbarians, and you're trying to score points from a myriad of different ways. But you're going to get a lot of points for building the ships and building the forts and all sorts of stuff in that area. But you also have to defend against the pirates and the barbarians, or they'll destroy your boats and your forts. And but they're not a whole lot of points, the pirates and the barbarians. But overall, it's a sort of like a tower defense style game, but it does have one winner at the end. The person who has the most points at the end of the game wins. And even has a little funny blurb in the book, which is the problem with a lot of semi-cooperative games, is if you tank the game, you get shame. But if you tank the game and still win, you get the glory. It's just a fun, zany game. It's really cool where you have your crew of 4 heroes that you could put out. Their pirates and stuff. You could put up to 2 out, and then you have to pay for the additional ones. The game itself is really quick. It only goes over 3 rounds, so the maximum amount of pirates or turns things you can have is going to be 12, and that's if you have the resources to do it. So you have very few turns. It's very you have to be very careful what you do in the game. But the cool thing is all these pirates have unique abilities, and all the locations have unique abilities. And after the first round, you swap it to the next player, so you get a fresh set of 4, and third round you do it again, so you never end up with the same pirates. A lot of different strategies you could take, a lot of different synergies with the areas that you pick. Really fun game, very short game. Not very short, but it's a shorter game, which is really good with this style of games. So I'm also looking forward to playing Chaos Cove with you guys. The last game that I got to play was Big Easy Busking, and that's by Weird Giraffe Games. And Big Easy Busking, you're a band and you're trying to gain the favor of the crowd, and you're going out in the streets and you're playing your music and you're trying to get those tips from the crowd and that income through that, and be able to keep the energy up of your band. You're sort of like a band manager in it. So you have to manage your energy to play these different songs. You're trying to match the songs with the mood of the crowd so you can get even more money. And the person with the most money at the end of the game wins. It's a good game. They're from a small publisher. The only problem with it is I think the replayability on this game is slightly low, because I think the game gets a little samey after a while. So I don't know how often I'll play it, but it is a solid game. And yeah, so it just suffers from it doesn't really have enough variety in it. So yeah. So those are the 3 main big games that I played. How about you, Nathan?
So I haven't got a lot of games in, but I did get one. That would be Snow Tales. So this is a racing game. I would say it's closest to Flamme Rouge. It says slightly more to it than Flamme Rouge. Basically, you have a hand of cards, and you can play them on your left dog or your right dog. If you need to turn, you need to make sure the dog on the correct side is pulling a little harder. But if you have them pulling at the same strength, that you go a little faster. You get a little boost. And it has some interesting maps. You can have trees in the way, saplings that you can like run over and do damage to your sled. And you got narrowed paths and things like that. It's a very simple game, but it's pretty fun. If you like Flamme Rouge, you probably like this. If you wanted just slightly more, this is also pretty good, but it's not one I think I'll play a lot. Just every once in a while when I'm looking for something light and easy to get to the table.
Yeah, it looks really neat. I mean, I liked Flamme Rouge, but I didn't play it a whole lot. And I think that theme will probably be a little better for me. Also, the dumb bicycle people never stayed on the bicycles for Flamme Rouge. I never understood why they did the models the way they did. It was crazy. Maybe they expect you to glue them on, but
yeah, they just You push them on, and then the plastic kind of pops right off.
Yeah. That's where you get the shoe glue and you just go like this. Like little flops. Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else you've been playing, Nathan?
Oh, no, that is it.
Okay, so now we are going on to the news. So things that we have found on the internet that we think are cool and upcoming. I believe Evan had one or two here, so I'm going to go ahead and pop it off to Evan.
Got three here.
Oh, it's a spicy day.
It is. So one thing that we have talked about here on our Discord, but not really so much on here. So we have Dire Wolf
yes,
putting out news of Dune Imperium Uprising. So Dune Imperium Uprising, it's basically what a lot of people were calling Dune Imperium 2.0. So it looks, from pictures and release of like cards and whatnot for the game, very, very similar to Dune Imperium. It is using very similar deck building and worker placement modules within the game. What's really cool too is they're going to introduce a 6-player mode that pits 2 teams against each other. So I'm very curious how that will go. And I think where a lot of people are wondering where the difference between Dune Imperium and Dune Imperium Uprising will be, they said with the expansions of Dune Imperium, the Rise of Ix and Immortality are going to work with Uprising. So that kind of blurs the line of what's the difference between the two actually going to be. And I think time is just going to tell here very soon.
They also said that the majority of the base game cards will work with the new one, and the majority of the cards from the new one will work with the base game. It really just seems like Dune Imperium 1.5. So it just looks like they just cleaned some stuff up and they're like, good. So it'd be interesting to see what they thought people felt was off on the game. Because that really it just feels like, hey, we had a hit on our hands. So many people played it. We got so much playtesting in. This is a hit game. Let's go ahead and make a version that has all those corrections that people found issues with. Sort of thing. It seems like that's what it feels like.
And anytime you have a game that does this, it draws a lot of attention because a lot of people are like, ooh, look at this, shiny. And then there are a lot of people who are like, flame, we hate this because you're not really putting new content out. So I think, like I said, it's just going to be one of those, time will tell exactly what's going on with it and how is it going to be truly received. So but really interested to see.
I'm buying it.
Spoiler alert, I'm going to play your copy of
it. Yeah. Hey, that works.
I got rid of all my Dune Imperium because you have it, Peter has it. You guys are who I usually play games like this with it, so why do we need a third copy of it? So
not only going to buy it, I'm going to get an insert for it. I'm going to sleeve it.
So I'll play your copy of it. I'm good with that.
Maybe upgrade some of the stuff. Oh, that's a good point. Are they going to make, like they made for Dune Imperium, they made an upgrade kit that upgraded gave you soldiers for instead of the cubes and did all this stuff. I wonder if they're going to do an upgrade kit for Dune Imperium Uprising.
That's a good question because that specific upgrade kit was very impossible to find after the initial run. So
plus the upgrade kit doesn't work with the expansions. You don't get the upgraded components for that too. It'd be cool if they did a upgrade kit with all the expansion stuff.
So. Yeah, we will see what happens with that one. Second piece of news I have just recently dropped out here is a game called Pirates of Maracaibo. I wish Dan was with us to talk about this, as it is one of his favorite designers, Alexander Pfister. So Pirates of Maracaibo, it's a standalone game. It's in the same vein of Maracaibo, which is one of his favorite things. So yeah, Pirates of Maracaibo, standalone game in the Maracaibo world-ish. So you can jump right into this game, though. You don't have to have any player experience with Maracaibo with it. So it's a completely independent game. What's really nice is some of Pfister's games seem to be a little bit on the higher end of complexity. This one is supposed to be rolled back and more accessible. So that'll be nice to get as like an entry level for people to kind of jump into a game. But yeah, I ran across this today, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I wish Dan was on here so we could talk about that more because, like I said, he's extremely fond of this game and the designer, so I'm sure he has some opinions about that. But yeah, so really cool.
Yeah, I liked Maracaibo. It wasn't like amazing to me, but I did like it. So I would be definitely down to playing Pirates of the Maracaibo. I think Nathan liked Maracaibo a bit.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. I think the campaign makes it even more interesting because it slowly develops. It's not like one where you need to do the campaign, but it just changes the game slightly every time you play it.
I think I would have liked it more if I played the campaign. I
think you would.
I think I would have. All right, what's your third piece?
Yeah, and I never got to play Maracaibo, so I'm not sure about this. But last thing I have, in not the best of news, but just recently, Gen Con just came through, and during Gen Con, there was a thieving of $300,000 worth of Magic cards at the show. Now, when it first happened, there wasn't a lot of information about what happened, and then slowly there became more and more pictures about the alleged thieves and what happened. And you can't make this stuff up, but the pictures seem to point to a game designer because they were wearing their product shirt during the theft. Seriously.
I just never get how people don't think there's cameras at any point.
I know,
and
right?
You have to have like kahunas to be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to act like I own the place. Going to take this pallet jack that isn't mine and go pick up this pallet full of super expensive cars and just go.
And the worst part about it is, so stealing the $300,000 card, that's really bad. But it wasn't like they stole it from Wizards of the Coast, who $300,000 cards, that's nothing to them because they stole it. These cards were from a smaller shop. It was a majority of their Magic inventory for that. They took it and stole it. And like I said, the footage points to these two guys that are designers. I'm not going to say the designing name because we don't know for sure at this point. They're just persons of interest. You can do all the research yourself, but until they actually say for sure whether they did it or not, it is. But it is a shame that something like this happened. It was during the setup at Gen Con. They just kind of walked in, took it, and walked out with it. And it's a shame that it actually did happen. And to be a game designer and to do that at one of the largest conventions in the world is even worse. Yeah. Like you are probably, if you did this and you're the game designer that's there, you probably burnt every single possible bridge ever.
Hopefully get prosecuted and go to jail too.
And then on top of that, and it is Wizards of the Coast, so the Pinkertons may come visit you
too. That would be amazing. Well, that would be the one time they should, not, But yeah, no, that sucks. It just, that's just really, really bad. And I hope they do get caught, and I hope they do go to jail. And unfortunately, that small company is probably not going to recuperate or not get their money back from that in any way.
And it's everywhere. The game that they designed all of a sudden just randomly jumped into the hotness on BGG because everyone was checking it out. And some of this negative news we don't really like to talk about too much, but in a situation like this, where if we can protect these companies also by saying things like this to make everyone aware of this, that it happened, I think that's also within our duty to do too.
The funny thing is the game is rated a 5.2. It's
Yeah, it's
not.
absolutely terrible. It was
not.
released in
It is
2017.
a terrible game. And
Its rating was like 23,000. It's now like number 4 on the hotness as
yeah,
of today.
so like this is probably unfortunately the best that they're ever gonna have for this game because they stole $300,000 worth of Magic cards. Oh man, the art, everything's terrible on this game.
well, I mean,
Terrible.
Kickstarter probably wouldn't let them, kickstart another game, so they got to fund it somehow. And
So like the art, they have this art, the poorly drawn art, and then they have this digital art on top. It's bad.
yeah,
Oh man. Jeez. Nah. It's gonna be sad if they didn't do it, but oof, jeez.
yeah,
This game. Either way, this game is awful.
yeah. And honestly, though, I can't believe that it's not them for a game that came out that long ago to be at Gen Con to wear a shirt for the company. It just
that's like the guy that robs the bank and it's like, I'm sorry, I just need your ID. So
here you go. And there's like there's a camera like right down on the back, and there's like it's like our shirts where our logo is huge on the back of our shirts. Yeah. Like if I was wearing one of our logo shirts, I would not commit a felony, you know? Just but
yes.
Yeah, it's a shame that we have to talk about it, and we joke about it. But it is a terrible thing that did happen, especially because it was from a smaller shop that lost a lot of their inventory from these two thieves that did take it. So
I'm not entirely sure that this rating is accurate and entirely is 5.2%, and that's right because if you look at the ratings, because I was just wondering, I'm like, wait. The game does look awful, so that nothing changes that. It does look. It looks like they didn't even try. But if you look at the ratings, there's a ton of ratings here that are ones that just as simply says thieves. Don't steal. One for obvious reasons. Could not do otherwise. This game is full of magic. Selling cheap gen. What is it? Oh man. Oh yeah, I this is amazing. Oh, this one's great. So this one says as a one, he says, I hear they have cool shirts at least. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the depressing thing about that is, I mean, a big thing that drew me into this hobby is the community and being able to trust people. I don't like that
just dirtbags
potentially hurts
this.
This is definitely an anomaly. This is not how most board gamers behave.
I mean, everyone's I've ever talked to has been awesome, so I don't know. Yeah, this is just ridiculous.
There's the very, very few that act in a vein like this, so they're definitely not commonplace. Unfortunately, there's always a few that will ruin it for everybody. And like I said, we don't like to talk about stuff like this in the negative way. Yeah, if you've watched us before, you know that we have our sense of humor, so we will joke about things. But the reality of this is, it is our duty to speak a little bit about this to protect the other things that are going on out there.
Sorry, I was giggling because this one's amazing. I got to play with the designers, but then I realized my wallet was missing. This is just making my day. These ones, it's like these are almost as good as like reading like a Simon's Kickstarter comment section.
That's all my news.
All right, so Nathan, do you have any news?
I went through a lot of news in the last episode with the Gen Con reports, and I think I pretty much covered everything I thought was really stood out to me at that point.
No problem. All right, so I have a couple bits of news. Some shout outs, really. Land of the Mesozoic, which I did a review of, or preview of. That's coming to Kickstarter too, and I really think that's a solid game. So I just wanted to say kudos to them for designing a pretty solid, approachable um, board game. This is going to be on the light medium weight style game, and it's a family style game, so it's really good in that spectrum. But if you're looking for like a hardcore game with dinosaurs, this isn't going to be it. So this is sort of like a light terraforming Mars, more like on the Wingspan level. But the art is amazing. It's a lot of fun. It plays really well solo, so it has a really good solo setup to it. And there's a lot of really good strategy that you have to have in the game, because there's a lot of hand management in this game. And a lot of knowing when to let your dinosaurs go extinct. And there's just a lot of moving parts in this game. So I really like that game. Looking forward to that Kickstarter coming out for Land of the Mesozoic. And I just wanted to shout out and say that was a pretty solid game. And that if you're looking for light, medium weight, engine building game that is similar to Wingspan, there's some big differences, but in the idea of you're building that tableau with your 3 rows, that's the similarity part. But really good game. Also, Chaos Cove is going to be coming to Kickstarter. That game was a lot of fun. So if you like the semi-cooperative game and you're looking for a pretty fast game, it says, just looked it up, says about 45 to 60 minutes. And unlike most board games, that's about right for the time frame. Which is really good, because if you have a zany game like this where one person's going to win but you're still doing cooperatively, I want it to be short. I don't want it to be a 2 or 3 hour game. That's bad. This is a good time frame of the game. Great designer Martin Wallace did a great job. Wanted to shout out to that. Evan stole one of my pieces of news because he's evil.
Which one?
My mind just went blank as soon as you said that. In fact, it was the first piece of news. That one. Dune. Yes, Dune Imperium. Second edition, we're going to call it. That game. Yeah, I'm just getting it. I mean, Dire Wolf is pretty solid on their games, and I don't think that I will be feeling like I was gypped if I got it, even if it's like pretty similar to Dune. Same with Blood Rage 2. If Eric M. Lang ever decides to make it, I will buy it, even if it's only just slightly different in the game itself. Yeah, other than that, Dune Uprising was the big thing. Brandon Sanderson is coming out with a deck building game. That's going to be interesting, along with a RPG game too. The RPG game is going to probably more effectively use the miniatures. But you don't need the miniatures. They did just so you know, they did a big Kickstarter for the miniatures that are amazing. These are high quality miniatures of the Stormlight Archive series, which is my favorite book series that's ever been created. Really excited about the deck building game. I will 100% get that. I did not get the miniatures because I am not rich. And I'm not really into RPGs, but hopefully I can pick up the RPG game for Peter, so he can RPG that. He's also a Stormlight Archive fan. I have yet to talk Evan and Nathan into the life-changing books of the Stormlight Archive series, because as soon as they read them, I will lose them for weeks and weeks until they finish the series, as it currently stands.
I forgot how to read. I'm sorry.
You forgot how to read. You would love them. I think I got Mom the Mistborn trilogy, and I got her some of the Stormlight Archive trilogy, and she read through those. So you should start. Way of the King is the first one. Good book. Not just a good book. Amazing book. All right, so that's it for the news. I just
I
got
one.
Oh,
one,
you do?
one piece
Okay.
I forgot to add here. So, Horrible Guild Games is coming out with a new game. They're known for the King's Dilemma and the Queen's Dilemma. They have a smaller game coming out called Quicksand. So it's a real-time cooperative game that you work together to deactivate the quicksand, which is a dangerous trap of gears and sand. So you will have 3 timers, and you have to get them from one side of the board to the other in real time by playing cards that use gears, that play gears out, and you have to move the timers over, and as you move them, you flip them. And anytime that the timers go all the way down, bad things happen. So it's kind of a neat thing for them to come out with something, because really they have a couple smaller games under their title, uh, but to see something new after kind of King's Dilemma is a couple years old, and the Queen's Dilemma just finished crowdfunding and should be delivered hopefully by the end of the year, maybe probably closer to maybe Q2 would be my guess, just seeing how the updates are going, just to see something else kind of come out from them. And it's kind of in a different vein for what they've done. I mean, if you look through the different things, I mean, they have a lot of stuff under their publishing title, but this is kind of a departure from what they normally do. So I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. It caught my eye once I saw the publisher title or the publisher name that was attached to it. So I might be willing to give it a go. I mean, a real-time game like that normally is not something that's in my want to play, but why not?
Yeah, why not? Give it a shot. Never know, because I've played a lot of weird games and I ended up loving them.
Yeah, this one caught my eye as well, but as soon as I saw those sand timers, I lost a little interest. But because it's horrible games, I probably will try it at some point.
Yeah, I think there's only one sand timer game I like, period. So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
No, it can't be the same one that I like.
What is that?
The one I like is Time and Space, but you haven't played it.
I haven't played that one, no.
The only one I like. What is the one you like?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the title off the top of my head because I am losing it today, but it was made by Stonemaier Games.
Pendulum?
Pendulum, yes.
Haven't played that one yet.
It's really good, and you can play without the timers. So I highly recommend, if you play Pendulum, you play it first without the timers, and then you put the timers in only when everyone knows how to play the game. But go ahead, Evan, sorry.
Which is saying something, because I remember when we were getting a copy of that, you were very anti-Pendulum.
Yeah, I hate
before
sand timers.
We got it.
There's zero games that I like with sand timers except for Pendulum. And I actually prefer Pendulum without the sand timers, but the sand timers with people that know how to play the game is good. But I didn't like Kitchen Rush. I don't like any game with sand timers other than that one. All right. So now it's time for the main topic. And with the main topic, we're talking about Euro and Ameritrash games. So we might as well start out with some definitions. And I'm going to see what examples you two have for these definitions. And the first one we're going to go with is Euro game. So Euro game, also called German-style board games, German games, Euro-style games, generally just referred to as board games in Europe, is a class of tabletop games that generally has indirect player interaction and multiple ways to score. Euro games are sometimes contrasted with American-style board games, which generally involve more luck, conflict, and drama. They are usually less abstract than chess or Go, but more abstract than war games. Likewise, they generally require more thought and planning than party games such as Pictionary and Trivial Pursuit. Also true. History, a little bit about it, is due in part to the post-war aversion to products which glorify conflict. The 3M series of strategy and economic games included Acquire, which is one of the first Euro games, becoming popular in Germany and providing a template for new form of gameplay without direct conflict or warfare. So, in your example of a classic Euro game, it has to avoid conflict and warfare, and it has to be more like strategy based, but not quite like it's pure abstract.
So the one that
go ahead.
The one that I always think about, I've actually never played this game, but whenever somebody talks about Euro, this is the first game that pops into my head. That's the Grand Austrian Hotel.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. Mine classic is Catan because everyone can, puts that with a Euro game. But Acquire is also an amazing game. I know Nathan has that one. That is a popular example. Any of your 18XX games you would probably consider a Euro game. I consider like Agricola Euro game, although you do have conflict with starving, I guess, but not really conflict. Uh,
Just feed your people.
just feature people. That's why I like it, because sometimes it's hard. Um,
I mean, Back to News Acquire is getting re-released, which shows you
yeah,
it's a good game. It's people are still interested in it after 30 years.
that's the thing with
Renegade, right?
Euro games. Is Euro games are more on the purity of the mechanics, and a lot of times that stands the test of time. So that's a big
Well,
thing
and that
too.
goes to the definition of between the two, where you kind of draw the line. Euro is mechanics over theme versus Ameritrash, which is the complete opposite.
Well, we'll get into that definition soon. Do you have any other examples you want to throw out before I give you the definition of Ameritrash?
I mean, I got Pillars of the Earth and Kayla's behind me. Pure,
Yeah.
like I very frequently think of worker placement when I think of Euro.
Yeah. Although that doesn't always match up, but yes. Yeah.
Yeah, not all
Yeah.
worker placements are Euro, but a majority of them are.
All right. So let's see how this contradicts with Ameritrash. So Ameritrash is a catchphrase for American style board games. In general, this means games that emphasize a highly developed theme, characters, heroes, or factions that individually individually defined abilities, players to play player to player conflict, and usually features a moderate to high level of luck. There is a great deal of dispute over what Ameritrash means, even when it is accepted as a meaningful term. Many gamers would never call the old Avalon Hill a producer of Ameritrash games, meaning something to most. Basically, Ameritrash means different things to different people, but we're going to go over the big definition where it emphasizes highly developed themes, characters, heroes, or factions with individually defined abilities. That's going to be our example for Ameritrash, or definition, I mean. So what would be a great example of that for you guys? Oh, also needs to have some luck in it.
Well, the classic one I have behind me, Lord of the Rings, definitely heavily focuses on theme. You are literally going through the stories and trying not to get too much corruption and not let Sauron win. It's basically there's some set question and things like that, but yeah, there's a fair amount of luck. But the big thing is it is thematic to the point where sometimes it sacrifices mechanics.
Yeah.
Cthulhu Death May Die. I mean, honestly, if you're going to talk about Ameritrash, that's really what it is. Conflict. You've got dice rolling. The theme with H.P. Lovecraft, just everywhere. It's splattered in every nook and cranny of it. Right there, that's completely what it is. And really, any of those games, Mansions of Madness, Eldritch Horror, all of them, they all fit into that.
Yeah, which is over 50% of my board game collection. But, I do have a lot of Euros and I have a lot of things in between. So, my example would be Kemet. Kemet is a perfect example of a Ameritrash game. Highly thematic and a good bit of luck in it. So I like that one a lot. So that gets into what are the stereotypes for Ameritrash games. So a lot of time the word Ameritrash has trash in it, so that it'd be a negative connotation for a grouping of games. Some people have changed it to Ameritreasures or whatnot, but I feel like you just don't use the term, But, whatever. Teach their own. So I think that is the stereotypical thing that Ameritrash denotes that the game is not good. And the same could be said for the stereotype for Euro games, where the stereotype is they are very boring, or very dry, or have zero theme. Which can be true of both things. Some Ameritrash games are trash, and some Euro games are so dang boring that they're not worth playing. However, that's true with anything, I think.
Yeah, I think the stereotype also includes that, like with Ameritrash, it's like they overemphasize the luck element and the combat elements. Oh, you just throw dice at each other, and that's who wins.
Yes, no Monopoly. uh, my favorite types are going to be the ones where you have a lot of mitigation, you have special player powers and stuff like that. Like Cthulhu Death May Die, there's a lot of things you can do to mitigate your luck. And I think good Ameritrash games they do have the luck, but they focus on mitigation of the luck and things you can do to try to mitigate those bad rolls or maximize your chance of having like heavy hits and stuff. And things that you can do yourself and in the game to, win.
The negative.
Oh, go ahead.
think on the negative end for Euro games is a lot of people see that as, well, once you played it a couple times with the same person, you know who's going to win every time because it's like the better player always wins. So no luck involved, which to some degree could be true for some of them. But if it's a good game, it changes up the board state enough that you have to constantly change your thinking.
Yeah. The other problem comes with it with a lot of Euro games, and I'll let Evan finally speak after this, but a lot of the Euro games, you don't need other players. Like they are literally not needed. So that would be my negative part for some of the Euro games. And a lot of the Euro games I like are like the most have pretty high player interaction where it does matter what they do. And I think that gets into more of the worker placement part because you can deny people places. I think that brings the interaction back in. But what did Evan think?
I was going to say a lot of very similar things to what you said, James. Like one game I look over here is Last Will. So looking at that as a Euro style game. So there, when you look at it, you can play the game solely with a bot, and the bot itself runs through another person, and the programming it has fits on a sheet of paper. So that kind of tells you, like, do you really need another person to play this? No, you don't. Um, and it's not a bad game. It's not really. It's still in my collection now. But is it a game that I could probably slap another theme on in 5 minutes? Probably, and it still play very similarly. And I think that's a problem with that people get into that thought of with Euros, that there's just no theme or like there is no need for other people, like you were saying. But it's not true for all of them. And I think that's where we're to the point now that we've blended the two pretty well, and I think that's a sweet spot for a lot of people. Which I think we were going to talk about blended games next.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really important to blend the two together because, in the end, you're just looking for a great player experience in the game, and the game doesn't matter if you want to play with other people. Uh, so much of like how great the mechanic is if you're just playing a solo game. So blending the two together will bring more player interaction in and bring more people into the game. So if you're looking for that multiplayer experience, that's great. If you're not, if you're looking for a solo experience, then maybe this wouldn't be the best thing for you potentially, where you just want pure strategy and lots of decisions that you can make and different things that you can do to get your score up or whatnot. Almost like a puzzle. But yeah, I think a lot of the games today are blended and they're not pure. Not very often do you find like a pure Euro or pure Ameritrash game. You're gonna find ones that have a blended sort of mechanics and stuff in them.
Yeah, a game that we did a playthrough of a while ago that I did the teach for, and it's a game that probably will never leave my collection. It's a game called Cavern Tavern from Final Frontier Games. So in the game, you're working to serve people drinks. There's so many elements from Euro. There's so many elements from Ameritrash. It works so well together, because I mean it is a worker placement, and having to doing set collecting and whatnot, which definitely pulls all the Euro. But there's so much other things. You're getting into conflict with the other people trying to get certain resources that could be denied, or getting the recipes that you're fighting to get those from the other people. And you have the different ways that you can collect the actual ingredients other than the straight way, and putting the luck into it, because it's not just a straight worker placement, but it's a die worker. So adding that element to it, like there's just so much blended into it, and I just like the game a lot. It's a fun game. That's probably why I'll never leave my collection. Something that my wife and I will sit down and play a couple times a year, and we really enjoy it. But I mean, it's a great example of just taking both things and blending together, and you can get a great game. Get a great game out of it.
And I think it's also telling that when we were talking about what we liked in each category, the elements that we talked about actually are things that seem to have been inherited from the other. So like in Ameritrash, you talked about luck mitigation, which a lot of people would consider a Euro mechanic. And in Euros, we talk about variability, which a lot of people would associate more strongly with Ameritrash.
Yeah, I really think that both those terms are useless.
They
And,
are old at this point.
yeah, and they're not really representative of anything. They're just more like, hey, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to throw out this word and group a whole bunch of things together. And it doesn't even do anything to help explain what the game actually is. It's just, I don't think they're useful at all. If you want to have some form of definition or grouping, they should be by a main mechanic in the game.
Well, I think historically in the board game hobby, there was early on a reason for it, because access to games from Europe was rare in US and vice versa. So these different styles of games existed because people didn't have a chance to try out these different styles and learn from them and design games using these styles. Whereas now you can get most any game you want and try it, and it's expected when you're designing a game that you've played all sorts of different styles of games.
Yeah, well, you can't
Yeah.
even say like games from Europe or Euros, because like
Right.
you get a lot of what you would consider Ameritrash games from Europe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so blended now, it's hard to distinguish.
And it's to the point now that that line is so gone that BGG itself does not even label those in there. And I mean, BGG is not the end all of anything, but I mean, it is a good reference point for games. And if they're not using that to label those games, then it may be a dying term at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a usable term. I think there's a lot better ways. Like the overall idea of a game can be a category, stuff like that. Or if it has a really pronounced mechanic, that would be a way of categorizing them. BGG does a really good job where you can look at it and then they list the major mechanics in the game, and you get a synopsis of the game from the publisher's description, which I think is sufficient to get the idea of what type of game it is. Maybe not how it plays or anything, but if you don't like hand management games and it says hand management and that's the main part of it, then you can skip that. Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, 10, 15 years ago, was it important to have that? Yes. But I think people in the hobby now are more understanding of the different styles and mechanisms that are in the game, that we can just break it down by the mechanics that are into the game and just be good with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the big things I wanted to talk about on this topic. And I think that clearly defines it. But do you guys have anything else you want to throw out as like thoughts for this before we get into our epically awesome silly game?
Well, I think you have a point that we need just to put the nail in the coffin for these terms and just stop using them. They're no longer relevant. You can maybe use them in the context of talking about classic games only. But as far as modern games, I don't see it work functioning.
And people are so used to using them too. That's the problem. How many times have you talked to somebody that you're just kind of, hey, well, what kind of games do you like to play? And those are usually one of the first terms that they're going to throw. I like
Monopoly.
Euros. Well, you should stop talking to that person. But it's
That's
usually
the number one answer I get normally.
Yeah, but usually it's like, oh, I like Euros, or and stuff like that. And it's just that doesn't anymore. That it's just not useful information.
Yeah.
I think the last time I heard these used was about the time Blood Rage and Scythe came out, because there was a lot of debate on those, whether the Euro or Ameritrash. And then people realized it doesn't matter.
Spoiler, they're both more Euro than they are the other thing.
Yes.
Especially Scythe. Which
is funny because a lot of people like to nail down that Blood Rage is Ameritrash too.
Yeah, it's more of a Euro area control style game than it is Ameritrash. There is some luck in the drafting, but I mean,
I think mostly because of the conflict is why people lean. I don't know. Stop using the terms, people. It's old.
Yeah, it's old and crusty and not needed anymore. All right, so we're going to get into my awesome, silly game. All right.
That he's been working on for a long time.
Yes, for the past 5 minutes, I have devised a game where one of the two of you is going to probably be assassinated and the other one's going to die a horrible death. Maybe.
Do I get to die? I get to die?
You have 5 health. Okay, 5 health. If you name a game that I do not feel is a Euro game or Ameritrash game when I name it, you will lose a health. If you name a game that is not on the top 100, you lose a health. If you name a game that is in the top 10, you die. You're assassinated.
So we should probably close out of BGG.
Yeah, bro, close out of BGG. So we'll see how fast this game goes. We're like, Nathan, you're dead. All right.
So you're going to say Euro or Ameritrash and we have to just name one, or?
Yeah, so I'm going to say Euro Ameritrash. You're trying to name one that's on the top 100, but not the top 10. You'll lose a half. I didn't mention that part. You lose a half a health if it's not even on the top 100. No, you lose a health if it's not on the top 100. And you die if it's on the top 10.
What if it's a blended game? Like, how do we...
Oh, no, I make the decision, so it's not fair.
Oh, that seems fair.
Yeah, it's totally not. All right, Nathan, you have to name a Euro game that's in the top 100, but not the top 10.
Concordia.
That's a safe one. It's 22, actually. It's not as safe as I thought it was. But, Nathan, you're fine. You still have your 5 health. All right, Evan, you have to name an Ameritrash game that is in the top 100.
The top 100?
But not the top 10.
I'm looking through my games because I'm nervous to...
You're like, I don't want to die. Get assassinated by the BGG police.
I think it's kind of rated high right now. Okay. Wonderland's War.
I think... Yeah, no, I think that one's going to be higher. It's higher than 100. So
is it?
You lose 1 life.
Where's it rated right now?
Oh, hold on, I'll tell you.
Oh, look, he's cheating. He didn't even look.
Well, I mean, I have the top 100 up. Wonderland Wars is rated 226.
Oh, just out.
Not bad. I mean, there's like 10,000 billion games on here, so 226 isn't bad at all. All right, Nathan. So Evan's down to 4 health. Light paper cut, just a flesh wound. Okay, so Nathan, you have to name an Ameritrash game that is on the top 100, but not top 10.
Star Wars Rebellion.
Oh, that's an easy one. Yeah, so that's... No, wait. Evan wins. Nathan dies.
No! It was in the top 10. I thought it'd be just outside.
It's 10. Number 10. It's Star Wars Rebellion. I was like, oh, that was an easy softball, but no. Nathan killed himself. I think we should do one more try because that was super fast. All right, Evan.
I thought I was solid with that one.
All right, you have to name a Euro game that's in the top 100.
Agricola.
Yes, Agricola is 46. That is a good pick. Nathan, Euro.
Acquire.
Nope, lose a life. You're at 4.
Ah,
Evan. Wait, what did I just have you do? Oh, man, now you have to do Ameritrash.
I want to say this one, but I'm worried that it's in the top 10.
Okay, let's try it. What are you thinking?
Let me think. I'm gonna guess it. It's right over your shoulder. Twilight Imperium.
it's not in the top 10.
All right, Nathan. I should just assassinate you for that, for saying it's not on the top 10. It's number 5.
Oh, really?
Yes, Evan's dead. I guess we got a tiebreaker.
I knew it was
No.
high, but didn't think it was that high.
All right, Nathan, you're.
I was thinking 20.
Or no, you Nathan Ameritrash. You know, it's 5, and it deserves to be there. You gonna say Gloomhaven, Nathan?
No, I was gonna say King of Tokyo.
Nope,
think
you
that's
lose a life.
Ah,
All right, Evan.
we started, so I'm at 4, right?
What's that?
I'm at 4, right? Because we
You're at
started.
4, yep. Evan, Ameritrash game. No, Euro now for you.
Euro top 100.
But not top 10.
Sad thing is, I don't have a lot of Euros in my collection.
But it doesn't actually have to be in your collection.
Say brass.
I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know why that one is rated the way it is.
I know it's out of the top 100, but last will.
Oh, that's definitely not in here. So 4 life.
Yeah.
Nathan. What have you
Euro.
before? I'm losing track. Nathan's a Euro. Nathan's just gonna lose by attrition if he doesn't guess one right.
Is Kalis in
Do you want to do that one?
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a little out.
How do you spell Kalis?
It's right behind me. Caylas.
Oh my gosh, it's 98. All right, Ameritrash game, Evan. One of my favorite games.
I mean, are we going to say Blood Rage?
I mean, if you want.
I would say Blood Rage is Ameritrash, but
it is. It's 44. 10. You're good.
But it's not. Yeah.
All right, Nathan. Ameritrash.
Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea.
Yeah, no, it's not on there. Nathan's at 3 life.
It's not in the top 100.
No, it's a good game though. Evan, Euro.
Grand Austrian Hotel.
3 life. Or 4 life. No, wait, you're at 3 life now. Yeah, 3 life. Nathan.
Nations.
You're doing Nations. Nations is not on there. You're down to 2 life. An Ameritrash game, Evan. You're just gonna win, but Nathan just dying here.
Might be in the top 10 or top 100. The Crew.
Oh, you know what? You're back up to 4 life. I lied. Grand Austrian Hotel is on there at 69. All right. So you picked The Crew as your next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. You're right. The Crew Deep Sea Mission's 36, so you're still good. You're still at 4 life. Nathan at 3 life and super sad. Has to do an Ameritrash game.
I had one and just lost it. Do I think that would be in the top 100? Could be. Moonrakers?
Also a very good game. but it's not in the top 100, so you're 2 life. So, Evan, Euro at 4 life. It's looking pretty good right now. You didn't even look behind me.
Oh, Stone Age. I didn't realize I was
I
on
don't
mute.
think that one made it, but it's a good game too.
It's
We'll
going to be
see.
close.
Yeah, it's not on there. So you're at 3 life.
Double check.
I just did.
Great Austrian Hotel.
Yeah, no, I was wrong on that one. So you're down to 3 life. Nathan at 2 life has to do an Ameritrash game.
I'll play semi-dangerously. I only have 2. I thought I had 1 left.
I don't know. You have 2 life.
Okay. Do I go? I'll go with Scythe.
Can't be on. 16. You were so dang lucky. All right. Evan, the Euro.
I just did Euro.
Oh, Ameritrash.
Yes, we should be. Yeah. That was my Euro, and he did the Euro, so Ameritrash for both. No.
One of my favorite games. I got to play with you.
Oh, wait. I Manchester Madness.
52. Good. Nathan, Ameritrash.
Which you didn't get to play with me. So that's not the one you're
No,
thinking
but it
of.
wasn't the one I was talking about. Nathan, Ameritrash.
Rising Sun.
I don't think that's on. Yeah. Nope. So you lose life. You're down to 1. All right, Evan, hanging on strong there. What? You do a Euro game now.
Maracaibo.
I have no idea how to spell Maracaibo.
Mara.
I got it now. Google saved my bum. 54. You're good.
Okay.
All right, Nathan, Ameritrash.
Or die.
1 life.
I just did Ameritrash.
So Euro. Just do Euro.
El Grande might be too old.
94.
Oh.
All right, Evan, Ameritrash.
Cthulhu Death May Die.
$73. Nathan, Ameritrash.
Okay.
Through 1 life.
I need something. Quacks of Quedlinburg.
59. You made it. All right, Evan, Euro. And you're still standing strong with 3 life, Evan. You can lose them.
Wait, which one am I on?
A Euro.
Euro. Okay.
Remember, we talked about a bunch, too. Just saying.
Yeah, well, those thoughts have gone. Woo.
Yep.
Euro top 100.
I mean, what's one of my favorite ones? You look hungry. Baby famished.
You're helping him
Not
too
helpful.
much.
Beer and bread.
Yes.
That's not right.
Oh, beer and bread? Okay. I don't think it's
Oh.
going to be on there, though. Yeah.
No.
No. So, Evan's down to
That
2 live. So,
That's not even a euro.
Nathan has to do Ameritrash.
No,
I'm
Euro.
being very liberal.
I'm Euro now, but
Euro, sure, Euro.
oh, I had one and it slipped my brain. Oh no. Oh, furnace.
Pretty sure Furnace is not on here, but I'm going to double check to make sure I'm...
Oh, come on. It's got to be in the top 100. It was so popular.
It's a good game, too. But
So,
sadly, Nathan has died. And Evan is the grand winner of everything. Furnace is a wonderful game, but it is rated 374. Which is still a good rating. I think it's because it's a lighter game. A lot of the heavier games make it on the top 100. Not a lot of light games. The Crew made it. There's some exceptions. But Furnace hasn't made it there yet. I really love the bidding element on it and how you still can get stuff from it. Really cool.
I feel like I named better games than Evan did, but yet they were lower on the...
He won. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I mean, you assassinated yourself and lost. So that was my silly game. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I did like this conversation about Euro and Ameritrash games. Join us next time for our playthrough that we'll be doing next week. It'll be a lot of fun. And you all have a good night.